Before we start, take a second to drop your city or country in the comments. Let's see how far this story travels. A powerful woman walks into a bank on an ordinary morning, expecting nothing more than a simple transaction. But 5 minutes later, the entire branch falls silent, and one employee's career ends on the spot. Cameras are rolling, customers are whispering, and what begins as routine service turns into a moment the internet will never forget. This isn't just business. It's a wake-up call. Her name was Danielle Brooks, a self-made CEO in her late 40s whose signature carried weight across the finance world. She had built her company from the ground up. No shortcuts, no family fortune, just relentless vision and work. That morning, she wore a tailored navy suit and carried a leather briefcase, every step measured and confident. She came to the bank to transfer company funds for a new project. Routine, efficient, nothing dramatic. Years of leadership had taught her composure under pressure, but as she approached the counter, she noticed the shift in tone to one teller. None of that mattered. The branch looked calm. White marble floors, quiet air conditioning, polite smiles for everyone. Clerks greeted customers by name, offering coffee and warm chatter. But when Danielle stepped inside, the air seemed to cool. A few glances lingered too long. Conversation faded. She signed in and waited patiently. The teller behind the glass looked up, hesitated, then forced a thin smile before motioning her forward. The difference was subtle but clear. To everyone else, it was service. To Danielle, it felt like warning bells. Something wasn't right, and she could already sense where this might lead. "Good morning," she said evenly, sliding her documents across. The teller barely nodded. "What's this for?" "It's a transfer. Corporate funds." He scanned the papers, his tone sharpening. "Do you have identification? Proof you're authorized? An appointment?" Each question landed heavier than the last. A man in line frowned, noticing the change. Danielle kept her voice calm. She'd faced boardroom battles tougher than this. Still, she felt that familiar ache, being questioned not for what she did, but for how she looked. The teller's eyes narrowed, lips curling in disbelief before he muttered, "You don't look like a CEO." He pushed the documents back. "I can't process this. You'll need a company representative." Danielle met his gaze. "I am the representative. I'm the CEO." He smirked, shaking his head as if humoring a joke. Turning away, he called, "Next customer, please." Whispers rippled through the lobby. Someone lifted a phone to record. Danielle stood tall, her silence louder than any argument. Years of dignity wouldn't crumble here. Around her, curiosity and discomfort mixed in the air. The humiliation was public, undeniable. But behind her composed expression, something stronger was building. A quiet certainty that this moment wasn't over. Across the lobby, a man in a gray hoodie scrolled on his phone, quietly observing. No one paid attention to him. He looked like any other customer waiting his turn. But that man was Marcus Lee, Danielle's chief operating officer. He had seen every moment, the disbelief, the smirk, the dismissal. Without a word, he began recording. Then, with a calm expression, he made a quick phone call. His tone was measured, decisive. Within minutes, a series of calls would set something powerful in motion. Within minutes, everything would change. The sound of polished shoes echoed against the marble floor. A branch manager hurried in first, followed by a tall man in a dark blue suit, the regional bank director. Instantly, the atmosphere shifted. Conversations stopped. Employees stood straighter. Customers held their breath. The director's gaze locked on the teller, then on Danielle. He didn't need an explanation. He'd already seen the footage sent from Marcus. His expression was sharp, unreadable. The teller stammered a greeting, unaware of who stood before him, or who he had just denied service to. The director's voice cut through the silence. "Do you know who you just insulted?" The director took Danielle's documents, glancing at her ID and company credentials. Recognition flashed across his face. "Ms. Brooks," he said quietly, "your company holds 3 corporate accounts with us." The teller's eyes widened. "Sir, I didn't realize," he began, but the director raised a hand. "You didn't ask. Instead, you profiled a client on camera." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Phones lifted higher. "Pack your things," the director ordered. Security moved forward as the teller's face drained of color. Danielle stood silent. She didn't need to say a word. The power shift spoke for itself. The director turned to Danielle, sincerity softening his voice. "Ms. Brooks, please accept our apologies. I'll personally complete your transaction and address this issue immediately." Danielle nodded politely, her composure unbroken. Around them, murmurs spread. Customers whispered to one another, realizing they'd just witnessed justice unfold in real time. Papers were signed, the funds transferred. When she finished, Danielle shook the director's hand and left the branch without another word. Calm, graceful, and entirely in control. The chaos stayed behind her. Dignity walked out the door. By evening, the footage had spread like wildfire. Millions of views, countless comments, news outlets picking up the story. Screens everywhere replayed the moment bias met consequence. The bank released a public apology, promising new anti-discrimination training. Danielle, ever composed, shared a short statement online. Respect should never depend on appearance. Her words resonated far beyond her followers. The story wasn't just about one woman. In a bank, it was about every person who's ever been. Judged before being seen, this story isn't just about one CEO. It's about the reality many face every day. People dismissed, disrespected, or doubted because of how they look. Danielle's calm reminded the world that real power doesn't shout. It stands tall. Her strength turned humiliation into awareness, silence into change. So, where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Let this story travel farther than bias ever could. Because in the end, real power isn't about status or wealth. It's about dignity, respect, and the courage to rise above it all.